It is February 15th, approximately 7:25, and I'm going to the special select board meeting. And here we are in the front door. See what happens. And I'm in. It is, let's see, it is 7:26, February 15th. I'm wondering if there's any notification on this board here. Looking for a notification of special meeting, and I see that it is there. That's a good thing.
Hi, Barry.
Good morning. Good morning, all.
Good morning.
Oh, hell yeah. No, pickup does he go.
Okay, it's 7:30, let's call the meeting to order. Introduction, people present. I think we all know one another, Albert, Barry, and Oscar in the back. Three of us and Denise. First item on the agenda is we are responding to a complaint of alleged open meeting violation. The violation, I will read, came to us on February 10th.
We received it on the 10th.
Received it on the 10th. And I'll read the violation and we can discuss it. Statement and cure of alleged open meeting violation. February 8th, 2016. In October of 2015, I received a notice for a 100% increase in the water bill from Newport Center Town Clerk, 30-day notice. It stated you could get more information by contacting the Town Clerk, Denise Daigle. This I did, and she told me if I wanted more information, I would have to attend the November 7th Select Board meeting. On November 7th, I attended my first Select Board meeting in Newport Center, Vermont. On the agenda was a civil engineer to speak on the water system problems the town was having. The resident, I don't know what that looks like, residents were anxious to hear these details after receiving a 100% water bill increase from $120 to $240, including myself. Ernest Shuckett, myself, my wife Jane, and 2 or 3 other residents were in attendance. We were clearly not included in participation of this meeting. The Select Board and Denise Daigle were discussing water solutions quietly amongst themselves. We could not hear what was going on. We were most interested because of the recent increase of the water bill. I interjected and asked who the speaker was. He was not introduced to the residents. We were excluded from this private executive session. The man's name was Wayne Elliott, and stopped immediately, somewhat embarrassed, and introduced himself. I then asked questions about some of what I saw drawn on the blackboard. Wayne began to explain, and Steve interrupted him and told me he cannot talk to you now because it is costing you, the people, taxpayers, $250 an hour to pay the engineer. I am not the part of people, a taxpayer in good standing up to date. Am I not entitled to participate in an open meeting? I believe that's the first violation.
Second.
Oh,
First
second
one was up above, correct.
Oh yeah, first violation was the private executive session. That was Article 3131, Section A. And then the second violation is 1312H pursuant to 314A. Later in the week after the meeting, I questioned Denise about the $250 an hour supposedly being paid to Wayne Elliott, the civil water engineer on the agenda. Denise told me that Steve was only joking with the $250 per hour quote. I confronted Steve in a heated debate at next select board meeting with 30 residents present. I asked over and over, why did you lie to me? He finally responded by saying, I know now that I should not have said that. I only said that because it makes engineers and lawyers feel good when you tell them they charge a lot of money. I thought this odd, but was satisfied with his response and respect him for being honest on this. However, we were denied the right to be included in an important issue, as I well as others who attended the meeting for. Next paragraph. Previous to this meeting, I received a notice for water increase from the town clerk. It stated you could get more information by contacting the town clerk, Denise Daigle. This I did, and she told me if I wanted more information, I would have to attend on November 7th, 2015. To the date of this letter, I have still not gotten a clear explanation for details for the increase. In particular, the numbers that caused this. The expenses that Steve Barrett referenced to at the select board meeting December 3rd, 2015. This is on record video taped at the meeting. Shortly after Wayne Elliott finished speaking to the select board, he left the meeting. At this time, supposedly we, the residents, were permitted to speak. Ernest raised his hand to be heard. Steve Barrett, in a loud, very loud voice, yelled, "Ernest, shut up." Steve went on spewing out more angry words, something about revisiting previous disagreement they have had in the past. He was not allowed to speak. In my opinion, this was no less than bullying and violation. 3.1 VSA 314A1 312H. To the date of this letter, I have still not gotten a clear explanation for details for the increase, in particular the numbers that caused this, the expenses that Steve Barrett referenced to at the select board meeting December 3rd, 2015. This is on record videotaped at that meeting. Cure. I would pursue this no further if the select board would schedule a meeting to include Wayne Elliott of Aldridge Elliott Associates sometime within this month of February 2016 for 2 hours to speak to and answer questions from the town residents. Please be advised, should this simple request for a cure be denied, I shall file in Orleans Superior Court to be heard on this issue. Be forewarned, I have substantial evidence in the way of several hours of video recordings, text records, and witnesses to the fact quoted above. All right, the discussion that we need to have on this is, did a violation occur? Do you want to do one individually? Do you want to do all three? Or, all right, let me see it.
Just start right at the top and you go right down through.
Okay. So on the first violation, did we go into executive session?
If we went into executive session, I believe we'd leave the room and go into a different room, wouldn't we?
We have
Either
the room
that, or
cleared.
we have everybody
We had
else.
the room cleared. We did neither, did we?
We didn't.
No.
No violation.
Okay. Second violation. The man's name was Wayne Elliott. Wayne Elliott stopped immediately, somewhat embarrassed, introduced himself. They, I guess it's here is saying that the taxpayers did not have an opportunity to question the engineer.
Yeah, I think it's, I'm not entitled to participate in an open meeting.
Okay.
Or both. Right.
So,
Well, if you want to participate in our meetings, you should be put on the agenda, correct?
that is correct.
What, was he put on the agenda?
I'd like to argue the fact, if
No.
after
Was he-
this,
That at that meeting, it was new to the residents coming in, and I believe that none of them were included on that agenda. But they are, well, everyone's welcome to attend. So
Correct.
taking testimony from
as
them.
well,
Correct.
everyone is welcome to be heard. And so you don't have to be on the agenda to be heard. Anyone who walks in the door in a select board meeting has a right to be heard.
That is
A
correct.
reasonable amount of time. So, you know, you don't have to be on an agenda.
No.
You know, I mean, you were asking, but I just wanted, you know, it doesn't really make a difference what I say at this
Okay,
point.
okay.
And I'm not gonna bother, you know.
Did we feel that,
I felt everybody was given a chance to speak if they wanted to.
Ernest?
and then the third violation, which was that told Ernest to shut up. And in my opinion, this was no less than bullying.
I don't remember you telling Ernest, shut up. I remember you telling him, put your hand up, said, stop, Ernest. I'm talking with Barry. When I'm done, I'll get to you. And then he was given a chance. And Ernest's not here to defend himself, so I'm assuming that he doesn't have a problem.
Do you think he would swear under oath that that didn't happen?
Would I what?
Do you think Ernest would swear under oath in a court that that didn't happen?
We can't really say
I
that
can't
because
say
Ernest
'cause
isn't here.
He isn't here to
I'm
defend
talking
himself.
about in a court of law.
It doesn't matter. Ernest isn't
Well, it
here.
matters because you just made a statement on record that it didn't happen.
I don't remember it happening that way.
I don't remember it happened that way either.
Well,
I
it's
don't-
two then, two.
Okay, so obviously a violation didn't occur there.
I don't see it.
So the outcome was that we find that there is no violation of the open meeting laws. So I will need a motion in regards to that.
I make the motion. There's no violations, no open meeting laws.
I'll second.
Motion's made and seconded. Discussion.
I would like to say, the cure is very simple. This could all go away. You understand, just because what you voted here, it's not the end. It's not over. And I'm just telling you that because it's such a simple cure. Just, can I read something?
Aren't we talking about if the violations occur, not the
Yes.
cure?
But
Right.
he can, some discussion
I mean, I'm telling you that it's not over. I can go further. And,
I
you know,
understand.
and I don't think it's necessary. It's such a simple thing. I'm trying to solve this, not to be an adversary. It's such, you know, look at this.
What is it you're trying to solve, Barry?
I'm not satisfied with Steve's explanation on the water. I have to tell you, I've heard too many contradictions, too much that doesn't make sense. And I want an expert opinion. And you know, that is, and so does the water committee. Look at this, here, the people in delegating authority do not give their public servants the right to decide what is good for the people to know and what is not good for them to know. We're asking you, just schedule a meeting and it can go, and this is over. You know, you don't think the people should know and get the answers from the experts? We have to take Steve's word on it only? I don't, you know, I'm not satisfied because nothing has been done and there's no solutions. I would like to get the select board, all our specific questions from the experts. I know that you, Fred, and you're well informed, but I want experts because nothing's getting done. And it's not an unreasonable quest for a cure. I'm not saying I'm going to sue you for $1 million. I'm just saying, please, be transparent. We need some transparency and some explanations. You're using the town's money. Everyone's saying, yes, we would like, you know, the select board is asking you right now they want this. And so what you are doing is denying them, you know, the right to know. You know, we just want to know. And, you know, I wrote a letter, an email to Wayne Elliott, and he is a little busy this month, but he'll come here, and if he doesn't come, he can get another engineer on his level to come. We just want an expert. So if you want to leave it at this, there's nothing more to say. I mean, I'll move on. But, you know, I think it's a very simple solution. You know, why go into all this problems? You know, it's obvious you're not with the people on this. The people want to have a meeting with the civil water engineers, the experts. They want that. You know that from your last water meeting. So, I mean, I'll leave it at that. I mean, I don't want to argue the points on all of these things because, you know, you say that it wasn't a violation. If you go to court, a judge will tell you whether he thinks it's a violation. I don't want to go to court. It's time-consuming, and it's stressful, and believe me, it would cause all of you to have to invest a lot of time. It wouldn't cost you any money. The town pays for it. But it would be a lot of money because, you know, just the discovery end of it. The lawyer'd have to look at every single one of hours and hours of videos at how much per hour. You know, it'd be you know, because this is not a small claims. This is evidence, documents, the whole 9 yards. Who needs it? I don't know, it's up to you, wherever you want to go with this. I mean, if you want to say you didn't do anything wrong and you don't want to do the cure, we'll move on from here. I'm trying to be reasonable.
Thursday night.
Right. There is a water board meeting on Thursday night. one of the items that I think the water board's taking up is a new water source. So there will be discussion with the engineer and, not at next Thursday's meeting, but, and the state hydrologist in reference to finding a new.
So the water board is talking with the engineer?
That's on Thursday's agenda.
Not at this time.
That agenda I just gave you.
What they are.
Elliot's gonna be there?
No, they're gonna discuss, I do believe, this is new business emergency well, plan to move forward. So at that point, if they want Wayne Elliott to come, I'm sure they'll make a recommendation to the select board.
That's good, I'm glad to hear that something's being done, but still, I mean, I'm seeking that cure. It has to be within 14 days, and I'm pretty,
If we decide that an open violation of the open meeting law occurred.
that has nothing, no, if you say no, right?
Right.
Oh, yeah, right, then it proceeds to another
If
level.
we say yes, then we have 14 days to rectify
Yeah,
it.
right, and it's not a big deal, do you think it's a big deal that people want to hear from the engineers that you paid how much for that report?
I think it's a big deal because you brought this to the board.
Okay,
And I think this will remedy itself if you gave it time, because we have a water board that wants to meet with our engineer as well. So I think this will all go away,
Thank you.
because the engineer is coming at some point. It may not be on your timetable.
timetable of the law. Well, I have to respond to that.
No, not the timetable of the law, because we've said there's no violation.
Okay, right.
So there is no law violation as far as we are concerned. As far as we are concerned.
Well, we'll get a court order to have it happen. You think it's worth going to court to
I don't
just do
know,
something
we're not
simple?
taking us to court. You're taking us to court, if that's your choice.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Well, I
Any
would
from
like
any-
to respond, that you say it would have just went away if I gave it time.
No, I didn't say if you get, the water board will be meeting with Wayne at some point.
Well, you would like to do the cure and avoid all the other issues?
The water board is, and Steve is on the committee, so they will meet at some point.
Yeah, I've heard promises
Well,
over
they
and
haven't
over.
requested, the
Any
water board
claims?
hasn't requested.
No, they have not. The water board doesn't have a focus yet, and that is being developed at this time. Any other questions, Road?
I have a question. Who pays for all these extra meetings that Barry's not happy with?
The meetings?
Yeah, who's paying for the lawyers and engineers and the meetings that a few aren't happy with? Somebody's
Water
paying
users.
for it, the town, the water board,
The water users.
we're paying for that?
Anything that deals with the water department is directly charged to the water users.
And Barry, you're afraid of your water going up? I would,
Afraid.
I would think I would back off and let the selectmen do their job and the water board do its job.
Do you recall saying that you were on the water board 5
Yes.
years ago and it doesn't work? Did you say that? 5 years ago?
Well, give them a chance. Times change, there's different people in here.
They've had this assessment since 2011. They've done nothing on it. I've seen nothing but excuses and delays. So all I'm doing is saying, it wouldn't cost any money. So it would cost a few dollars to have Elliott come down here. But they just spent $35,000 on the hydro
I know.
fracturing, and they're blowing money like it's no tomorrow. Are you worried that they're going to put us so deep in debt it's going to leak over into the property taxes? That's what I'm worried about. It's going deeper and deeper and it's not being fixed.
Yeah, but they're not God. Do you have a solution?
Yes, there's several. There's a 30-page report of assessment. There's at least a dozen well thought out by engineers solutions. They haven't tried any. They've tried maybe, I don't know what they've done, but that they haven't done a lot of the things that were suggested on there. And they're not much money. I showed you that. They're far less than hauling water.
Well, then maybe you better have a meeting with the engineers for you to make you happy.
I think we should have. Don't you want to hear the real answers from the experts, or do you want to take their word for it, which is questionable in my opinion? I'm not satisfied. If you're satisfied with their interpretation of the assessment, that's that's okay by me. But I'm
we
not.
vote people into office because we trust them, so we don't have to babysit them. And I wouldn't want to be babysitted either. You're doing your job to the best of what they can do.
You are the people. We are the people.
We have a motion on the floor that pertains.
All power derived from the people, all officers of the government, at all times in a legal way accountable to them. I'm asking them to be accountable. We the people, that's part of our job. They have a job, the people have a job as well. We are asking them to be accountable. And it's not like they rule, and it's by the people, for the people, and that's kind of, they're like changing the Constitution. And that's why these laws were put in effect. It was saying, hey, people, grasp your power to work with them. You know, I mean, when I first talked to Steve, it was a real nice conversation on the phone, and we were going to work together. I couldn't believe it. I was happy and everything. That changed immediately. He denied everything he said on the phone call, and I realized that's not going to happen, unfortunately. I thought, you know, if you work together, you can get a lot more done, and you can avoid all of these issues and conflicts. But they're not working together. They're not. I mean, look, it was like, it took 4 weeks just to get the water committee approved. And then, and now I feel that the water committee, they're gonna vote against everything they suggest and have excuse why this won't work and that won't work, and it'll just drag on and go deeper in debt. Nothing ever happens. So this is why I had to do this. And I'd like to remind you, on the last meeting, I spoke to Steve, the select board, and I suggested, I said, I explained to everyone, no one here is really an expert, can't we get the experts in? Steve didn't respond, just totally ignored it. So I gave him an opportunity before I even did this. He ignored me. So I said, he ignored me, I'm just asking to have a meeting. And so he ignored it, so what am I going to do? Just accept what he says? No, I decided, well, the laws are there, they put these new laws to help people, you know, get their, babysitting is not what I want to do, but these laws were put into place to, you know, suggest to them or force them even to comply to transparency. So that's the way I look at it. And you know, I mean, why don't you think about it? I mean, not make a decision final. You know, there's you know, I got my 250 ready to go. I don't want to do it. But you know, if you're not going to be transparent and be accountable, then I'm going to have to do it. It's not a big deal. It's to get these. I'm not asking, and I'm not being unreasonable. Just can we speak to an engineer? And I don't care if it's Elliot, just an engineer on his level. There's 2 engineering firms that wrote that assessment. There must be at least 7 or 8 engineers on his level that could take that assessment report and understand what's on it and answer our questions.
We have a motion on the floor. Did a violation occur? Is there any other discussion relative to the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carried. No violation occurred that we can see. We have a letter that has been put together to present to Barry. I need a motion to adopt the letter to the complainant.
I make the motion to adopt the letter.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded for the letter to the complainant. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. We will then sign the letter, and I think we can give you a copy today.
Absolutely.
And or would you also like to mail that?
I'll mail it, certified mail, so that
Okay.
we do have a paper trail that Barry did indeed receive it.
That's for this, don't have anything here listed, so motion to adjourn?
I don't know if Jason had something.
Oh.
Did you have anything?
I will say something about the engineer. If you have an engineer here every time you try to solve something with the water, it is going to be very expensive. I know Elliot and I know Aldridge personally. When they leave their firm, they get paid. So it's 2 hours here, it's 2 hours home, and it's $180 an hour. Steve wasn't so far off. So if he comes up here, it's gonna be 8 hours. Every time he comes up here. So you're talking $1,200, $1,200, $1,200. Before you know it, you're gonna have $20,000 just in engineer fees.
I'm only asking for 2 hours. 2 hours. I'm not asking for every
But
meeting.
it cannot be solved in just 2 hours.
The water committee needs to be clarification, and this is confirmed. You can ask them, they need clarification on a lot of the issues of the assessment. They want it. They want it, not, you know, and so,
Everybody wants it.
oh, you do?
These gentlemen want it too.
Could have fooled me.
Of
It looks
course
like they're
they want
hiding
it.
something to me, because I saw some things in that assessment that don't make no sense. And you should read it yourself.
I'm just pointing out.
Okay, point it out.
If you want to have the engineer here,
Yeah, I do.
engineers do not just work for 2 hours.
So if they, I don't care if it costs $1,000, they just blew
It-
$36,000 on.
it would be $1,000
they
just to
blew-
drive up.
They just blew $36,000 in the last 2 months.
It would be
On
20.
something that didn't even work, or does it work?
Did you get a copy of
We're talking-
I definitely understand what you're saying,
Okay.
okay?
He had sent
But
to Wayne
when
Ellis.
you start
Did you read that
getting
last
engineers
paragraph?
involved all the time,
I didn't say all
That
this. 2
stated
hours is
that
all I ever
based on
requested.
the
2 hours.
it might take him longer
That
though.
you-
Nah, I doubt it. 2 hours are covered. They just have a few questions to ask. 2 hours, that's all. I'm not, you know,
Based on what
you're,
the
you're,
engineer says.
it would help, I think. That's all. But, you know,
At some point, but we have to try to keep the costs down. We have to try to figure this out as much as we can by ourselves. And then if we come into too much of a trouble, and then get the assessment from a lawyer, from an engineer.
great idea.
And I believe that these gentlemen have been doing that.
And
Well,
the
I
water
disagree on a
board-
lot of things you say, but we have both voiced our opinions. I'm not gonna argue about it.
Oh,
You know, I mean-
I'm just pointing,
The water board has reviewed the 2011 document, and I don't know if they've come up with some formal questions that they need answered or not. I think the appropriate thing would be is if those questions can be answered in written form, that it would cost the water users of this town a lot less money if the questions were put on paper, sent to the engineer to be answered, and then the response back. That's the way I see it.
Saves a lot of travel
Right.
time.
If there is something that does need a lengthy, heated discussion, I mean, that's a different story.
Right.
Just to give you a little history, the water board just started like a month ago, 2 months ago. So like they're into their second or third meeting, so they're just kind of getting used to,
right.
you know, what they're doing. And they've got a formal agenda, trying to move forward, trying to help the select board with a plan. So they're trying, they haven't formally asked for Aldrich and Elliott to come up yet, or even any questions to
But we-
have yet.
Okay, just one last thing. I agree, we give them some time, and I'll tell you what I'm gonna do, in all fairness, I'll give you the time. But you understand, I have 1 year to file this complaint with Superior Court, 1 year. I can do it any time, I've got all the evidence, so I'll give you, because I have no faith, because I've seen too much delays, confusion, and contradictions just in my short time being involved, and I have no faith that anything will get done. Should it not get done in a reasonable amount of time and it's delayed, I'm gonna bring it to Superior Court and we'll talk about court orders and who knows what else will happen in between. It's just a simple thing I asked and it hasn't gone away just because you voted it out. It's still there. It's a ticket to go back and go in court and have a judge. And he won't be letting you judge, he won't be letting you vote. He'll be the boss. You'll have a lawyer, it'll be expensive, and I think anyone that's accused, a lot of people want to accuse me of charging them, of making the town spend more money. Well, I'm given the opportunity, very simple, just get a meeting and it's gonna all go away, and it's not without reason, I'm not being unreasonable. And the water board has expressed, they want this as well. So you.
I'm happy that we have a water committee.
I am.
I'm hoping that they bring some good stuff to us. There's a few things as a water user and payer that I would like to see happen, and hopefully they do.
I hope it too. I hope you people can get to vote on something positive. That's what I hope. I know they'll have the answers, and I know, you know, I know they have the answers if they go from that assessment. There's a lot of rock solid solutions, and according to the record, Steve, when I brought it up, it was 2011. He said we're looking into this now.
Barry, you've said that a couple of times now. There's some good, solid solutions there. Name one.
Sit down with a committee, get them in writing.
Right.
Sit down with a committee and get them in writing. I'd like to see them. I
Yeah.
mean, I've got a lot of
I'll
ideas
tell
of
you,
my own
I
mind.
can pretty much remember all of them.
And I've fooled with
Oh,
water
yeah.
and roads and everything else all my life, and I'd like to see them, and I've tried to come up with
First
a
of
lot
all,
of
the
things
very
here.
first
I've
thing-
talked with Oscar, I've talked with different people in town,
Yeah.
trying to get ideas.
Well, what about
And-
the assessment? There was clearly, there was a half a dozen right in a row, and I remember some of them. He asked me, I'll go with them. They were all rock solid. But, you know, every time anything goes close to taking action, there's excuses why
All those
this won't work,
assessments,
that
and
won't
all
work.
those assessments and stuff, in my opinion, are on paper now. When we dealt with them, they came to us one at a time, okay? From engineers or whoever. And we dealt with them as we got them. And with the recommendation of the engineers and stuff, we did these things. Nothing seems to work for us. We just aren't having, you know, we had the wells, we got the wells going. Everything was perfect. I remember Fred saying this to us one time. We had tried different times. We had tried different this, different that, setting those on timers. We had all the wells starting. Fred says 15 minutes and the reservoir's full. He says it's working great. The line blows out down here. We empty the reservoir. So we hauled a few loads in trying to help out. We pumped the rest, drained the freaking wells down. Now we're behind again. I mean, everything, it just seems to
Behind
kick us in there.
recharge? Are you talking behind in recharge?
Yeah, it
Okay,
just
yeah,
doesn't
well, can I
recharge
quote-
because they don't rest long
Can I
enough.
quote what is in the Elliott Aldridge assessment? And I'm gonna publish it online if you don't believe it. He said, they do not, and this was in 2011, they do not have adequate equipment to accurately assess the recharge rate. They should have this piece of equipment. You showed it to me the other day, but you didn't have it then. So that's bad. You know, you're making decisions to shut wells off without, according to Eldridge Elliott, without...
We
the-
never shut wells off.
We-
That's the problem. We were pumping them until there was nothing left, and then we're burning pumps up.
On the record, he says you shut them on and off and slowing them down?
On
An
timers,
hour on, an
because
hour off.
they were hour on, hour off. We couldn't let them pump steady because they were out of water. We're just burning the pumps up. So we had to, and that was their recommendation. Their recommendation was run them 12 hours a day, shut them off.
didn't
I went
say
on
that.
vacation
That
and
wasn't
came
on the
back.
assessment. That wasn't on the assessment, though.
I went on vacation and came back, found out they were running them 12 hours straight and shutting them off 12 hours straight. Well, whoa, hold it. Who did this? You know, that doesn't even make sense. Come on.
Well, I'm no expert. I'm only reading what the experts said. And they did say also in another part, you know, of that, it said the wells, the 4 wells, and that was when they only had 4 wells, are capable of marginally supplying the town with water. Now, he's saying that. Who do I believe? Okay, you know, that's why I would like the experts here to go through it again and tell everyone answers to these contradictions and these confusing facts.
I know Jason has probably dealt with it before, but at this point in time, like a well driller comes in, drills a well. They get done, they look at you and say, yeah, you got 30 gallons a minute. Do you believe them, Jason? I don't anymore.
They
I
might
don't know how
say
they
you got
test it.
30,000 a minute.
No, 30 gallons a
Or
minute.
30 gallons a minute at the moment they drill. Okay. Now you suck water out of there and you feed 144 residents, it's going to go down. Is the recovery rate what it is when you first drill it? Absolutely not. Because you've hit a vein of water. Now, is that vein of water going to go dry? In Newport Center, also, the rock is soft. And you can't put casings in rock. So you can drill 1,000 feet down, 800 feet down, you can have all this water for a certain amount of time. But the rock is soft, so it closes that hole. So you're losing your reservoir. And then you're losing the ability to get your water back out.
Okay?
It could be, and it could be that, or it could be you hit a good vein, but is the vein a large vein, or is it a pocket?
Okay?
Just like an underground.
Wayne Elliott, do you have anything to say in addition to what he just said, Wayne? We'd like a little clarification on that. That's all I'm asking for. You know, not